Okay, good morning, everybody. We are so happy that you are all on our webinar today and have been able to join us. My name is Emily Lakemaker, and I'm the Associate Director of Recruitment and Student Life here at the Rollins School of Public Health. And just a few logistics up here at the top before we get started and jump in. We are recording this, so if you want to go back and rewatch it, we will have this up on our YouTube channel, usually within 3 to 5 business days of the live event. And I'll be emailing all students that registered for this. I'll email you the link for that once it's up and running. We are going to go through the presentation first, and we've got a staff member, a faculty member, and a couple of current students in here to speak with you today. And then but at any point during the presentation, please feel free to use the questions section. You can see my cursor here up at the top right hand of the corner. You can type in your questions there. And once we're done with the presentation itself, we'll go through, read the questions aloud, and get through as many as we can in the hour we have allotted. So I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Melissa to get started with the presentation.
Thank you. Hi, welcome everyone. We're so glad that you were able to join us today. And as you can see this, so we have, as Emily referred to, we have a faculty member here, Howard Chang. And we have 2 current students, 2 second-year students. Alex is a BA MSPH student who's been doing our 4+1 program. And then Isaac, who is a second-year MSPH student. They're both in Biostatistics. So y'all want to say hello? Hi. So we're going to move on. And just a little brief information about Atlanta. We just want you to be familiar with that you, hopefully you will decide to come to Rollins. We all certainly encourage that. And this is just some demographics about what you will see in Atlanta. And, you know, we're the birthplace of the civil rights movement. And we have several Fortune 500 companies here. Also, the cost of living is quite lower than your other metropolises that, you know, you might be considering. Boston, Baltimore, any of those locations are more expensive to live. And then there's just some monthly temperatures. So you can see kind of how our temperatures range here. And we do, we're very happy that Atlanta, we get to see all of the seasons. And then there's some exciting things just within driving distance of us. There's lots of hiking and camping, state parks, the Appalachian Trail, and then of course, because Atlanta is a metropolis, we have several places of fun and excitement to see while you're here. So the next slide is just kind of a collage of all the different things that you can see and do here in Atlanta. It is a plethora of different environments, whatever your interest is, whether it's biking, whether it's theater, whether it's cultural events, those type of things, you will find all of that here in Atlanta. So does anybody have anything to add to that about living here in Atlanta?
Also fun neighborhoods that you can
Yes.
explore, good restaurants, things.
Yes.
Almost every weekend, I think there's a festival going on. You can always go online and see what's available and just drop by. Yeah.
Yes. They have really nice parks here.
Yeah, there's like a really wide variety. I particularly like to go to different parks and things like that. I've also been to some theater stuff that's really cool. There's a couple like smaller theaters nearby, which are really always like fun and interesting to go to being kind of a smaller, like more close to the stage, close to the actors' environment.
Yeah, so those are just some things that you know can consider when you move here to Atlanta. Again, basically anything that you're interested in, I'm absolutely positive that Atlanta would have something in that area. So moving on, I like this picture of our campus because it shows you exactly kind of what you will be looking at when you come here. This is a kind of it's a sky view of our campus. But you can see that it's kind of like a city to itself, and you can see the beautiful greenery in the background. But also in the background, you see that we are, you know, about 7 miles away from downtown and midtown Atlanta. So we do have the, you know, city life, but yet it is still a smaller town, Decatur. So you can see that really vividly from this picture. Okay, so just some basic information about the Rollins School of Public Health. These are our academics, and so we have 6 different departments, and so we have a wide variety of different things that you can study here. Even if you declare biostatistics as your major, we have lots of other things that you can take as electives in any of these departments, as well as anything else at Emory. So you can take undergraduate classes if you're interested in maybe learning a language, or I always love to tell this story. We had a PhD student who was bound and determined to take scuba diving. And so she was so excited when she got in the scuba diving class. So that's just a perfect example of the wide variety that you can have here at Emory. And then of course we have several centers that lots of our students are involved in. We have the largest center for AIDS research here at the Rollins School of Public Health, because our dean is Dean Jim Curran, who was at the CDC, and during that time that he was the division head of the infectious disease department, that's when they discovered HIV/AIDS. And so we have the largest center for AIDS research here. One of our centers is called the Biostatistics Consulting Center, and so we do a lot of consulting work in the fact of most of the percentage of the work that's done there is through the School of Medicine, and it is where they outsource their data analysis and results to us so that they can have that done by biostatisticians. And so as you can see, there's several other centers here. And then we have 22 master's degrees, and then we have now a great number of certificate programs. And these certificate programs, except for the informatics program, which is also housed in our department, all of the other certificate programs coincide with your MPH or your MSPH. So you can get your of course master's, but you can also get a certificate, and that will be designated on your transcript. Okay, so the next slide is about students. And as you can see, we have a wide variety of different students. So we are, we have a great diversity here. And so as you can see, we have about 1,200 students right now, with a total of all of our degree-seeking students and our distance learning program, as well as our doctoral program. And if you see at the bottom from our alumni, quite a few of those live here still in Atlanta, due to the fact that we are the public health capital of the world, and we are exactly right next door to the CDC. So we have a lot of students who go and work in these organizations that are here in Atlanta. So it's lots and lots of great networking and contacts for you while you're here in order to get jobs. And as for our faculty, at the present time we have 200 full-time faculty and 125 jointly appointed faculty. And what that means is they have a primary appointment in maybe like the School of Medicine, and then their secondary appointment is here at Rollins. And then 350 adjunct faculty, and as you can see, most of those are from the CDC. And adjunct faculty are faculty that have a full-time position outside of Emory, but they also help here in a way of either teaching classes, helping with research, doing collaboration efforts, that type of thing. And then we have a large funding research, and so as you can see, we have $93 million in funded research. So there's lots of important information going on here, lots of current, up-to-date things that are going on. So it's a very good school to be in for research. Okay, so this slide just basically tells you about the different degrees that we offer here in the school, in the Department of Biostatistics and Bioinformatics. And as you can see, we offer an MPH in Biostatistics, an MSPH in Biostatistics, an MSPH in Public Health Informatics, and then of course we do have our PhD program in Biostatistics. So we were extremely, unbelievably excited last year when Fortune 500 named us the best degree for getting a job. And as you can see there, they project a 23% growth. It is definitely a high demand job. It's probably one of the only positions or jobs that has more demand than supply. And so it's an unbelievable needed field, and we're glad that we are a part of it. So basically the next 3 slides are going to just lay out what we call our curriculum sheets. And this is what I go over with the students when we have our advisement appointments. So as you can see from the top, this is the MPH program in Biostatistics. And to be a full-time student, you must be taking 9 credit hours. But on the percentage, most of our students are taking between probably the least amount would be somewhere around 12 or 13. And then, of course, the most, we highly recommend that you don't take more than 18 credit hours, but we have had students that have taken, 20 and 21 hours in one semester. The best thing probably that we have about the Rollins School of Public Health is that our students pay a 1 semester fee. They do not pay by the credit hour. And so you're paying one price, but you can take 9 credit hours or you can take 18 credit hours. So it's all the same price. So that makes it quite an incentive for students to take those classes that they've been thinking about, for some time, maybe that, learning that extra language or taking a sociology class or something like that. They don't have to pay any extra money to take. So as you can see here, students will take our BIOS 506 class, which is your first methods class that you will take. And then we have in your first year, both the MPH and the MSPH in biostatistics, you'll be taking methods and theory. And so as you can see from this, the 510 class is what we call the introduction to probability theory. You'll see in the next slide that the MSPH program is taking a more advanced probability theory course. We call that BIOS 512. So there's a very distinct difference between our MPH and our MSPH program because the MSPH program is taking a more advanced class in theory. And so then the next semester, so as you can see, all of our classes are in sequence. You must take the classes, the biostatistics courses, in the way that they are laid out on this curriculum sheet. They are all in sequence. So you have to have the experience from each class to go into the next class. And but the other classes, as you can see, like the ones that have the 500s next to them, BSHE 500, HPM 500, GH 500, and EH 500, you can take those in any semester that you would like, except for your first semester, your first fall semester in. For MPH or MSPH program in the biostatistics degree, you must take the courses that are listed on the fall semester of your first year as they are written. We don't recommend you taking any other classes because the first semester in, you're taking 15 credit hours. So that's quite a heavy load for your first semester in. So as you can see, the MPH program is 42 credit hours. In this next slide, you'll see that the MSPH program is 48 credit hours. So our main difference between the MPH and the MSPH is, of course, as I stated, is you see the first fall semester in, you're taking BIOS 512, which is a more advanced probability theory course, as well as if you see in the second year fall semester, you'll be taking BIOS 526, which is modern regression analysis, which Howard Chang teaches. And so you're learning another regression methods course. And so the MPH program is not required to take that class. And the other bigger difference that we see between the two majors is, of course, they both are professional degrees. You will get a job whether you're in the MPH or the MSPH program if you are seeking a job after you complete this degree. We see that more students who are in the MSPH program go on to pursue a PhD. So that is the reason why we've given you the more advanced probability theory courses in the MSPH program so that you'd be more competitive for the PhD programs. If the two students would like to talk about your classes or anything that you've really enjoyed about your classes. in the MSPH program?
I don't know. I think they're definitely like interesting. They'll challenge you, and you'll learn a lot. And a lot of things you definitely will apply to different things that you do. Like you'll apply to if you get a research job or you just help with any sort of research. You'll be applying the things that you learn. Kind of, at least for me, I kind of got to apply them as I was learning them, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely. The concepts that you learn in the classes you take will really help you in other classes outside of the BIOS department. So, for example, you might be taking SAS programming and then thinking about how to code something while you're taking an epidemiology class. They all connect really well to each other. Also, as Melissa mentioned, they go in a sequence. So, as you're taking the classes, a lot of your students will stick with you as you progress through the curriculum, and that's pretty nice because by the time you graduate, you will have a good network of friends, so that you can talk to while looking for jobs and such. And the concepts, as I mentioned, are very useful not only in just biology, but you can also apply them in any kind of data analytics field that you plan to go on into the future. Biostatistics, also data science, anything with analytics. So yeah, it's a great curriculum.
Did you have anything to add, anyone?
No, I mean, I think we keep the students busy. So I think that's a good thing.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so the next curriculum sheet is for our MSPH program in public health informatics. So as we stated, we have biostatistics, and then we have the public health informatics program. So as you can see, this program is quite different from the biostatistics program in the fact that the only BIOS class that you will take is in your first fall semester, and that's a choice between BIOS 500 and BIOS 506. And then, of course, the rest are all the core public health courses along with all the informatics courses that you have to take. And again, this is an MSPH program, so it's 48 credit hours for this. It's a little bit different in the fact that we would prefer you selecting electives that are listed here to heighten your experience within informatics. But that is a choice. You can take other classes if you would like to count towards your 48 credit hours. The other thing that I wanted to mention is, even though you don't see this written on our curriculum sheets, as Isaac indicated, for the biostatistics program, you're required to take SAS programming, but we also offer R programming. And we have a class specifically for biostatistics students or informatics students that's geared a little bit on the more advanced level of R, because we teach another class called for the non-bio students, which is not on the same level of advancement within learning R as the biostatistics for only bios and informatics students. So I just wanted to let you know that you could also, learn that programming while you're here. And then, of course, we also offer other basically methods and programming courses, such as a lot of our students take what we call BIOS 550, which is our sampling application. So that's your survey analysis. You'd be learning Sudan in that class. So we have a lot of other, programming and methods courses that you can take as electives. Our current students right now, we have 55 master's students, 37 are in the MSPH in biostatistics, 16 are in the MPH in biostatistics, and then our informatics program has always been quite small, so we have 2 in our informatics program, but we continue to try to market that a little bit harder to get more students in it because it is a very good program. From our 2006 applications, we received 208 applications, and we had 27 students enroll in the fall of 2016. As y'all are quite aware, we're going through our application process for the fall of 2017. And we currently have 40 PhD students. So we're right at about 100 students total in our Department of Biostatistics and Bioinformatics. So We do like that because it creates, as Isaac was saying, we create a great community here because we are a smaller department. So you have a lot of, our faculty have a completely open door policy. Please utilize that. Faculty are going to be probably your best resource that you could possibly have here. They're the ones that have the connections. They're the ones that know the people. They're the ones that know this industry. So they are extremely helpful. And so it does help us a lot that we are smaller. And the students just it's a great community. We're the only department that has their own student computer lab on our department floor. So that also helps us in creating a great community among our students, and that includes our PhD students. Any events and programs that we put on for anything within our department, everyone is invited. It's not exclusively to any, like we only throw different parties and stuff for the master's students or the PhD students. We integrate everyone. So it's just a great community to be a part of. So the next 2 slides are about our faculty and their research. So as you can see, we have a great amount of different areas that you can learn about. And if you have any interest in working within that field, we highly encourage all our students to look on the faculty website and study up about what they're doing their research in. And if it's something that you're interested in, we highly encourage you to email the faculty and ask them about any research assistant positions they may have or anything along that. So as you can see, we have, survival analysis, bioinformatics, infectious disease. We have a lot of clinical trials. So, as you can see, there's just a plethora of different areas that you can go into. And so, again, I just highly recommend students to investigate the faculty website and look at all the research that's going on here. The best thing that we can say about biostatistics or informatics is it is about collaboration. You will always be in a team. There will always be a different area and different something to be studying. And you'll be moving on to different things because you are in biostatistics. So one time you could be doing a research on, infectious disease dealing with influenza, and then your next project could be on something to do with genomics. So, it's just a great field to be in a variety of different things that you can study. So the next page, again, is just another example of all the different areas that we're working in. As you can see, the cluster of faculty within cancer, we have a cancer division. There is a biostatistics division within the Winship Cancer Institute. So all of these work over at Winship, but they are a part of our department. So they are faculty within our department. And then at the bottom, these basically, they are doing all different types of things, such as Tracy Leon works with CHOA, which is our Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. So she works, she does a lot of work with CHOA. And Paul Weiss, who teaches several of our classes, he is also very involved with the VA. We have a large VA medical hospital that's located close, within walking distance of us off of Claremont Road. Rebecca Zhang, she is working in transplant, and she does renal disease and different areas of that. And Renee Moore is actually the head. She is the director of our Biostatistics Consulting Center. And so as you can see, there's just a different, for each one, that would include anybody on the list. They're doing several different things and working on different areas. But we do have Howard here, and he can explain some of the research that he's doing right now, and also like different students that he's hired to help him with his research.
I'm happy to. So Melissa asked me specifically to talk about how do students get involved here in our department. And I'll just first start saying that one of the great ways, even for an incoming student, is to attend one of the working groups that we have in the department. So I think we currently have 4 working groups, kind of separated by research interest. We have one in neuroimaging, one in bioinformatics and statistical genetics, one in survival and longitudinal data analysis, and I host the environmental and epidemiology working group. So our working group stuff is that we meet weekly, and it's usually a group of master students, doctoral students, and postdocs, as well as sometimes faculty. And we meet weekly to discuss either ongoing work, the student will give presentations or journal clubs, as well as just open-ended discussions. So I know in my working group, we sometimes even host tutorials for specific software. And it's a great way for new students to get exposed to new research. So again, like Melissa said, you can definitely just attend one of the meetings and hear what ongoing research kind of activities are. And many students actually find something they're interested in, then it's a great way to then make connections with current students and faculty. And when research assistant positions do become available, you'll be the first one kind of in the loop. So it's a great way to explore various research areas for new students. And I believe, so I think Alex and Isaac can add more, but many of the new students come in with different training and different background, and based on what you had, there are various ways you can start working on research projects. I think many students actually do start working on research projects in their first year, either through they have management positions, either through a consulting positions. So in my experience, so I think every year I typically take on about 2 to 3 new master students. And depending on what they want to do, I will either have them work on a collaborative project with someone in epidemiology or environmental health, working on a data analysis project that's more health focused. And for students who come in already with kind of more of a statistical and computing training, we often start working on more methods research. So these might involve simulation studies or more complicated data analysis. So really, I think there are various opportunities at Emory as well as around. So many of our students get internships or positions at the CDC. That's a very popular one. But like Melissa said, through our own networks, we often will hear about interesting positions that will be perfect for some students. For example, last year we had someone who was interested in global health and infectious disease, and then she ended up having an internship at the Task Force for Global Health, which is in it's in Decatur, but it's really close to Emory as well. And CHOA, the Children's Health of Atlanta, I almost say America, of Atlanta, definitely have a lot of opportunities there as well. And like Melissa said, most definitely there's that, because we're small enough, there's definitely flexibility in terms of trying different things out and exploring your interests, and eventually, finding the project that you're passionate about that hopefully turns into your thesis so that you'll focus on your second year. I'm happy to add.
Do you want to say just maybe a few words about the actual research that you're doing now?
Of course. So you might probably saw on the slide that I mainly work in environmental health and epidemiology. Specifically what I do is kind of leveraging large population-based studies. So I think a lot about how do we bring together a large and messy health data sets and put them together with even more complex environmental exposures. So some of the master students project that I've worked included looking at things like heat waves, so extreme temperature and how that impact emergency department room visits, looking at air pollution exposure during pregnancy and whether or not that's associated with adverse health outcomes such as low birth weight and preterm birth. We're also looking at project trying to, and there's more methods research, so coming out with new models to account for various challenges such as measurement error, various things. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you giving that information. So we're going to go ahead and move on. So the next slide is, again, they call Atlanta the public health capital of the world. So if you have, if public health is where you want to be, then you definitely want to be in Atlanta. There's multitudes of opportunities here to work within public health. We do know that for biostatistics and bioinformatics, we have a wider range of different places that you can work and do things. So that's a great advantage to anybody who's in this degree. You can, perfect example for biostatistics, you can apply for a statistics position, be a statistician or a biostatistician, whereas it does not work in the reverse. Someone who seeks a degree as a statistician cannot be in can't do the work that a biostatistician would be required in, because biostats is exclusively to the health sciences, which of course public health would want you to have. That's why all of our students are required to take what we call our public health core courses. So as you can see, this is just a small measure of all of the things that are just within, driving distance of us here at the Rollins School of Public Health. But one of the things that we really value here at our school is what we call our REAL program, which is the Rollins Earn and Learn program. And so our students are able to apply to that. You must, for our international students, it is a little bit different. You cannot apply for the REAL program until your second semester of your first year. So the starting of your spring semester, you can apply for REAL, and you will receive an email from the REAL coordinator who's in our Student Services Department, probably sometime around in October, if you want to apply for REAL. As for our U.S. citizens or U.S. permanent residents, you can apply for REAL for your first semester in, and that is done through FAFSA. So you need to fill out your FAFSA form in order to be eligible for REAL. And so you can go on the website and read all the details, but you definitely want to be a part of this program that's exclusively to Rollins. We call it our, work-study program that the financial aid department puts on, but it's a whole different aspect of it. It is exclusively only for research assistant positions. So it isn't as though you would get a job where you're doing any type of clerical, like filing or things such as that. It is exclusively for a research assistant position. So I'm going to let our students talk about their REAL awards that they got and what they are doing with that. Do you want to go?
So I have a REAL award, and I'm working at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, which is very, very close by to the Rollins building. There I'm helping various physicians with their research using the methods that I learned in my classes. And this is a really good opportunity because by the time you graduate and you're at a job interview, if someone asks you how do you approach an analysis problem, you already have a story to tell using the stuff that you've done in REAL and also integrated with the concepts that you've learned in class. It's a good opportunity.
I also have a REAL position working at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. I think we work for the same doctor actually. But yeah, it's been a really great experience. I don't know about you, but I'm actually paired with a medical resident in my research, so we're kind of working on stuff together. So she helps me with more of understanding the medical concepts and what variables are important and things like that you want to look at. Yeah, it's been a great experience for me. It's very collaborative. So we recently ran into some sort of problems, I guess, in our research. So we were able to consult with the pediatric core, right? There's
you mean talk about the Courtney and
yeah. So there's a biostatistics pediatric core of a couple PhD level and master's level biostatisticians. So through my job with Children's Healthcare, I was able to work with people in the pediatric core as well and kind of collaborate with them. So it's been really great to get a variety of input and insight.
Great, thank you. The other thing that I needed to explain to you is all of the students, whether you're an MPH or an MSPH student, and no matter what degree you're in, you're required to do a practicum. And most of our students do a practicum. It needs to be at least 200 credit hours, 200 work hours is during the summer. We don't offer any classes during the summertime due to this, and so that students have an opportunity to do their practicum. And so all students are required to do that. So the REAL program really helps in that too, because you can use your REAL If it is outside of the Rollins School of Public Health, that is one of the requirements for the practicum is it must be outside of Rollins. It cannot be with any Rollins faculty. So this is a great opportunity when you're working outside of Rollins for your real opportunity to use that as your practicum as well. And so the next slide is just, our commitment to careers. We have a high commitment to that. We have an excellent career services department that will help you in a wide variety of different areas, whether that's critiquing your resume or CV and helping you. They do mock interviews. They have 2 career fairs every year, one in the fall, one in the spring. And it is quite large. They have probably, I think, about 80 to 85 different companies represented at our career fair. And so it gives our students a great opportunity to, get their name out there and start networking. We have on-campus recruitment. One of our biggest things that we have here is just specifically within the Biostatistics and Bioinformatics department, Eli Lilly, which is in Indiana, is one of the top pharmaceutical companies, and they recruit us. They come and they do a recruitment day just with our students. We've had several students do internships with them. We have a numerous amount of PhD students who work at Eli Lilly, and now just this past year, which we're thrilled about, is Eli Lilly was not, they were basically more hiring PhD students, but now because they just, think that we're on the top notch of teaching our students the high level of biostatistics, they're starting to hire our master students. So last summer was the first master students from our department that got full-time positions there. So now we have 2 MSPH students that are working there and love it. They're in the oncology department there at Eli Lilly. And so again, we have the REAL program that shows our commitment to careers. And then also one of the assets that we have here at the Rollins School of Public Health is what we call our global field experience. As I said, most of our students do their practicum during the summer, and this is a great opportunity for you to go and learn to do something outside of the U.S. And so we also offer what's called the Global Field Experience Award. And so you can get funded. It will pay about 1/3 of your total experience based upon the award amount. And so we do have that opportunity as well. And yes, we have had biostatistics students do a global field experience. We've had students go to Ghana. We've had students go to Nigeria. We've had students go to South Africa, to Cape Town and Johannesburg. So it isn't something that's not for our biostatistics students. So there is that opportunity. And so I just wanted to let the students talk about any kind of career help or whatever, or maybe where you see yourself after you graduate and how the school has helped you in that. Either one.
Okay, well, I can start by saying last year, so for my practicum opportunity I found through, we have there's a job posting website called Handshake that you'll have access to, and that's where a lot of people will find their real positions. That's where I found my real job and my practicum. So there's a lot of opportunities posted to that website. So there's and a wide variety of things too. So it's very helpful to have access to that. And most of the time you can just apply through that website. You don't really have to go externally to other ones. So that's been really great. I have met with career services before to get their opinion on my resume and things like that, and cover letters, and they give me a lot of really great and helpful feedback. So yeah, I think there's a lot of resources when it comes to finding jobs and career paths, both in our department specifically and through the career services. So there's definitely plenty of sources of help.
Yeah, there are plenty of resources. Career services, they post a lot of resources online. I think recently they uploaded a tool where you can submit your resume online, and then this computer double checks your resume and gives you a score based on how good your resume is. It's pretty nifty and advanced and techy. It's really cool. Yeah, and there's also job fairs too. You can go and talk to different employers, figure out what kind of jobs are there in the field. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next slide is about student life, and the first part is exclusively to our department. We do have several people say that we have the most fun in our department, biostatistics, due to the fact that, again, we create a very close-knit community. We do have a lot of events and stuff that go on throughout the year, and so, you know, we have a lot of fun here. And so Alex actually was our SGA rep for biostatistics, and so she's going to explain some of the activities.
Okay, yes, so I served on our Rollins Student Government Association, which first in itself was a great experience. If you're ever part of student government, you get to meet a lot of people you wouldn't otherwise meet, and so it really helped me to make friends outside of the department, which was great. And there's a lot of events that SGA will put on as well as our department. So our department specifically will have bagel breakfast every semester. We'll have Christmas party where we golf, and then an end of the year party, and usually there's a couple other things we'll throw in there. Last semester we had a mixer with the HPM department and the FE department, which was a lot of fun. We got off campus and went to a local place to have that. So student government will host an event called Combos on Tap about 3 times each semester. So there'll be food and kegs, and it's kind of after class once a month. You get to meet and mingle with people from all across Rollins. There's also a semi-formal dance type thing every semester. So in the fall we have Fall Fling, which is a lot of fun, and then in the spring we have an event called Second Year Send Off. And there's also, I think once a semester, there's an event with the entire Emory graduate school population. So with the law school, med school, Laney graduate school, Candler School of Theology, we all kind of come together and have some type of event. And last year we went to a park off campus in the spring, and usually in the fall we have kind of an on-campus, almost field day type thing where there's like inflatable games and food and drinks, and it's a lot of fun.
So also too, as you can see, we have through our Student Government Association, we have numerous student organizations. So seriously, basically anything that you would probably be interested in, either Rollins will have some student organization that sponsors that, or Emory as a whole will have a student organization that sponsors that. So again, we think that we have a great student life here. It's very enjoyable, and we like to have lots and lots of fun. So the next slide is about housing. These are just some basic websites that you can go to look for any graduate housing and off-campus housing and rentals. So I'm going to have to let the students say, how do they find where they are currently living and what's kind of the average rent price. You want to tell Isaac?
I currently live at Campus Crossing, as you see in the first bullet point here. At Campus Crossing, there are a lot of Emory students, faculty living there. So if you do decide to live there, you'll see a lot of familiar faces walking around. It's pretty nice for people who kind of graduated from college recently in the past year or two, because it has sort of a college dormitory feel. The staff of the apartment, they regularly host events in their lounge with food and such. Rent is, so I live in a double right now, and it's around $800 a month, but it could range from probably $600 to above $800, depending on whether you want to live in a single or you want to live with 2 other people. Yeah, it's flexible.
And I actually live at Claremont Reserve, which if you've looked at Emory's whole campus, there's like kind of a satellite-ish campus nearby. It's called like Emory's Claremont campus, where there's a nice There's a lot of nice like outdoor facilities and a really nice pool, which is just like a short, like I would say like 5 to 7 minute shuttle ride from Emory's campus, or like a 15 to 20 minute walk. So I live at a place called Claremont Reserve, which is right across the street from there. My rent, I think, is about $600. I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's really, really convenient because the complex is directly across the street from Emory's Claremont campus, and the Claremont campus has the free shuttle that goes back and forth between Emory, and it's consistent, so there's pretty much always a shuttle there waiting when you get to it, and just constantly goes back and forth. So it usually only takes me about 20-ish minutes to get from my apartment to Rollins via the shuttle, which is actually faster than driving in Atlanta. So it's really, really nice to live there. I think it's fairly cheap, and it's really accessible and easy to get back and forth from school.
And just to clarify, your $600 rent is your half.
Yeah, my half. So our whole apartment is $1,200. Yeah, for me and my roommate.
Okay, and then this is the final slide, and it's just a pie chart of the careers for our MPH and MSPH alumni. And as you can see, we kind of divide almost equally between the CDC and students going and working in academia. And what that means is students are working as data analysis or biostatisticians within a university, such as, we've hired several of our alumni to work here within our department. So you can just see the division of different areas that our students are going into. Industry seems to be climbing up, different type of industry positions. Again, due to the fact that you're becoming a biostatistician, you do have a wide variety, and those students are working at places like Amazon, Google, Microsoft. So we do have a variety in that. And then also consulting is really working up as well. We have more students going into consulting work. So that completes our presentation. So please let us know of any questions that you have.
All right, so we're going to open these up and read them aloud and get through as many as we can in the time that we have allotted. So first question is, how long would it take for an international student to find an internship, especially those with background other than math or statistics?
So we have several students that don't come from a math or statistics background, and as I stated earlier, you can apply for real in your second semester, your spring semester of your first year. And on the percentage, whether you're a domestic student or an international student for biostatistics or bioinformatics or the informatics program, our students usually have some type of position by their spring semester of their first year. Several of our students have two jobs, so that doesn't really seem to be an area that's a problem. Also, with starting in your second year, we do hire our master students to be TAs. So there's lots and lots of opportunities, whether you're a domestic or international student.
All right, next question. Is it possible to apply for the PhD pathway for an MSPH student?
Okay, so for our PhD program, any student who applies to our PhD program, whether you're in our degree program or not, all of our applications are weighed exactly the same. So there is not an advantage of being in our MSPH program. So every single application, because we want to be fair, just as we viewed your application fairly when you applied to our MSPH program, we have to provide that equal and fairness among our PhD program as well. So all of them are evaluated exactly the same. Every single application, whether you're an MSPH, MPH, or a PhD, you're evaluated by 3 different faculty members.
All right. As an undergraduate student who is not majoring in math or statistics, would it be hard to study these courses? I assume they mean the BIOS classes here.
Right. I have never had any problems. I haven't had any of these type of students coming and saying this is absolutely impossible for me to do. We don't have a lot of that, but due to the fact that most of the students who come in either like a biology degree or maybe biochemistry or something like that, they catch on very, very quickly, and based upon your application and the information that you provided in your application, all of our students have taken multivariate calculus, calculus 3, or linear algebra, which is our basic requirements for our program. And due to the fact that you've taken those courses, you should do fine within this degree program.
Can I take elective courses from another school outside of public health?
Yes, that's the incentive, because you're paying per semester, not per credit hour. You can take classes anywhere that you would like. We also have what we call our Atlantic Consortium, and you can take classes at Georgia Tech, Georgia State, University of Georgia. There's numerous Scott, any of those student classes are also available to you. And we have many, many, many students who utilize this, what we call our ARCH program, and where they can take classes at Georgia Tech.
What is the best way to start the thesis? For MSPH and Biostat, what is the best way to start the thesis?
So the best way of starting your thesis is because you've already taken the classes. So, it's done in your second year, your spring semester is when you're doing your thesis. And so by that time, you've already taken all of your courses, mainly definitely your bios required courses. And so it helps you kind of narrow down. And then, talking to faculty and stuff like that, that's where most of our students have gotten their thesis. If Alex and Isaac would like to talk about, how they got their thesis.
Yeah, so every fall you hold kind of the faculty research meetings, I think it was about 4 weeks, and 3 or 4 faculty come in every time during lunch and talk about the research that they do. So it kind of allows you to see what's going on in the department. So from those meetings, I personally just reached out to probably 4 or so faculty that I was most interested in what they had presented, and met with each of them. And honestly, all 4 of them are kind of open to allowing me to work with them, and I just kind of had to make a decision of what project interested me most, and what I thought was the best fit for me. And from then, I got my thesis position, I guess. I'm working with Yuan Liu with the NCBI cancer registry data and doing some analyses on propensity score analyses with her, and it's been a really, really great experience so far. She's been super helpful and engaging throughout the whole process. So it's pretty simple. I don't know. Yeah, so it's a pretty smooth process getting involved with your thesis.
So next up is and this is kind of related, how do you find research opportunities at Rollins? And I guess that could be outside of thesis too, if you just want to assist with research. So
Yeah.
Any insight on that?
Well, honestly, I would say if you're, first I would look at the real positions, because that way you can earn money too, which is nice. If not, I would honestly just start meeting with faculty in the department. Most of them are usually pretty open to helping you find something. If they don't have something for you, they usually know somebody else who might, and it's pretty easy to find something that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then next up, let's see. A student is asking about access to the CDC, saying international students without a green card cannot enter the CDC. Is that true? So international students can enter the CDC. We just have to. So you may be referring to during orientation. During our new student orientation, we have a day where we take all the students to the CDC, and we have a presentation over there, and students can go on the tour of the museum. If there is some additional paperwork that the international students have to fill out in order to get access to the CDC that day, and we have had many that do not complete that paperwork and then are not allowed in. And those are not our rules; those are U.S. government, Homeland Security, federal CDC laws. So we have no control over that. But we do have plenty of international students who get real positions and work at the CDC while they're here, or some other government agencies. So that is not an issue. It's just a matter of completing the correct paperwork on time to get access to buildings like that. and both domestic and international students have to do that.
The other thing I'd like to add is I think there's a big misconception with that. We have several international students that have full-time positions, have been hired on by the CDC, and the CDC is actually paying for their visa. So
yeah, they're being sponsored. Yeah.
That you don't, I mean, that's not, we do have many international students working at the CDC.
Next up, do international students automatically qualify for scholarship? Does the scholarship cover accommodations? So our scholarships, you have to meet in order to be eligible for our merit-based scholarships, you have to have had your application in by our January 5th priority deadline. And it's like that every year. So I know some of you have already applied and been admitted. Some of you may be thinking about applying. So if you're thinking about applying for future semesters for fall of 18 or later, keep in mind that the scholarship, to be eligible for our merit-based scholarships, you have to get your application in by January 5th. And by then will be automatically considered, and those awards are notified pretty much this week for this coming year. Those notifications are going to start going out, I would say within the next week or two, because I know that process is wrapping up on our end here. And those awards are range from $5,000 to $10,000 to half tuition to a full ride. But I will say they are quite competitive. We award about 40 merit-based scholarships a year. And then there are some additional funding opportunities like the REAL program, which the students mentioned, our Rollins Earn and Learn, which international students are eligible for in their second semester. And if you are awarded a scholarship from us, then that would either go to tuition or you could use it for living costs, whatever it is that works for you. Next question is, have you joined the Global Field Experience program? Could you talk more about Jiffy?
Yeah.
Have either of you done Jiffy?
Yeah.
No.
Actually, prior to my position here as Associate Director of Academic Programs, I managed the Jiffy Award Program. So the Jiffy Award Program, so let me just clarify, any student, no matter what your degree is, can do a Global Field Experience. The Global Field Experience Award is when you have established a field experience. So you are leaving the U.S. and going somewhere internationally to complete your field experience, your practicum, your internship, however you want to term it. There is an opportunity for you to apply for an award. So again, the award will pay about 1/3 of your total experience. You will have a sponsoring organization wherever you're going. You need to have a sponsoring organization letter indicating that. And so it is a chance for you to do a global field experience and having some funding. Again, let me just clarify, the Global Field Experience Award does not pay for your full experience. It's about maybe 1/3 of that cost. And again, it is a what we call a proposal. You must submit a proposal, and that's usually done right before the spring break. I think they're changing that date, though. I think now it's due in February. So you have to do this kind of intensive proposal where you're talking about your objectives, your methods, your budget is very important. You give a little bit, information about what you'll be doing and that type of thing. And again, your letter of support from an organization. And then it's gone through a review process. We have several people on our Global Field Experience Award Committee, and they go through all the applications. And then on the percentage, I would say about 80% of the applications are funded. And so we have probably about 80 to 90 students each year that go on a global field experience but get some funding from Rollins.
Okay, next up, what advantages does Emory have compared with Columbia and University of Michigan?
I'm sorry, did you repeat?
Yes. What advantages does Emory have compared to Columbia and University of Michigan?
Okay, so probably the biggest difference is being right here in the public health capital of the world. And our collaboration is far better with other organizations within our area, and that doesn't include just Atlanta. As I stated, we have tons and tons of alumni that work all over the world. And so we have collaborations everywhere, but the biggest thing is that we have opportunities for all of our students to have jobs through our REAL program. We also have opportunities for our students to have a horrendous amount of collaboration with their faculty who are also working with tons of people around the globe. And so we consider ourselves to be on the cutting edge because we are in the public health capital of the world. And so that's one of the distinct differences. Also, our curriculum is different. If you look on their websites, you'll see that, we're not offering the same exact classes. So you're getting a little bit more higher probability in methods courses than they offer in the other schools. And so those are probably the most distinctive differences. Just living in Atlanta will be completely different from living in New York or in any of the other bigger towns, and the cost of living is much more inexpensive here in Atlanta than in those other areas.
All right, so we've got time for just one more question, and this one is about WES evaluations. So a student is asking about the different evaluation services that we'll accept. It looks like they utilized Joseph Silney and Associates evaluations, but we actually only accept WES. So we would require a WES evaluation for that in order for you to submit that to SOPAS and for us to accept your application for any of that. So with that, we are going to wrap it up. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to speak with us today and to attend our webinar. Any last words from you guys on our panel?
No, thank you very much. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to email me. Again, I'm Melissa Shearer. And thank you so much for attending this today. I hope we were able to answer your questions.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, this was recorded and it's going to be posted to our YouTube channel within about 3 to 5 business days, and I'll email out all registered students with the link when it's up. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.